Hey guys,
We're back. Welcome to our channel. I feel like people think marriage is the wedding. So the ring, how big your ring is, because that definitely was an issue with like people around me when I got proposed to, which it didn't. That was never an issue for me. But anyways, your ring, the wedding, how much people are going to be there, how fancy it is, the place that you're having it, who you invite.
That's right. I mean, we have the experience from our wedding, being in other people's weddings, and then I've been shooting wedding videos for 10 plus years, and just seeing how much energy is put within the wedding and the energy that's put into the marriage. So a lot of times when I meet with couples, I say, hey, you guys done counseling? That's just, not with us, but just with a professional. And a good percentage of them don't believe in counseling. And funny enough, we didn't believe in counseling first because we thought we were good. And
I don't necessarily I don't feel it was just because we thought we were, well, that probably was just in your head, but for me it wasn't necessarily that I thought that we were all good, but also I didn't want anybody just preaching to me.
True.
I feel like that was my my resistance to it, was like, okay, you're just gonna tell me about, the religious part of it, and it wasn't gonna be actual like facts.
Stuff, yeah.
It was more so gonna be your personal opinion on how you feel that your religion feels that I should have my marriage.
Yeah.
So that was my biggest thing. And I'm very happy that we did it and who we did it with, because even though he was a pastor, he didn't approach it as a pastor. He approached it as a marriage counselor.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest difference. And I think that is really what does turn people off from marriage counseling, because you hear marriage counseling and you think, oh, this pastor's going to tell me, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do blah, 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 blah. And that for me is what was in my head. But I'm so happy that we did marriage counseling, because he came with a very fact-driven approach.
That's right.
So we had to take a personality test, and he definitely compared it. And all of the lists or the facts or the results that showed that we had an issue or that we saw the opposites of definitely came out in our marriage, and were definitely arguments in our marriage. So like, I believe money was one of...
It was finances.
Finances was definitely one of the things.
Extended family.
Extended family was definitely one of the things.
It was only 2 things.
Really? It was only 2?
Yeah, we did pretty good.
Not bad. All right. So, but that was definitely something that I think was great, because I feel like we would have came in to marriage like a lot of other people without that eye opener, and like, oh my God, I would have been like, nah, I'm not doing this. Especially
That's
for
true.
me, like my family, we definitely have a lot of separation and divorces. So for me, divorce wasn't an issue. Like, if you acting crazy, I can be out. Like, I was not opposed to it at all in the beginning. I was definitely like, if he ain't acting right, I would definitely walk away.
Yes.
And having marriage counseling definitely kind of shifted my view on that. And for you, it was more so, I don't think divorce was in your head, but
It
I
was
feel
just
like
kind of like,
kind of just stuck it out.
yeah, stuck together if you're happy or not. That's kind of on my end how it was perceived. And then, just trying to point those things out before you get married kind of helped the marriage. So when those things came up, you're like, okay, and kind of had an idea this was coming, so it wasn't a surprise. And for each couple is going to be different. I know for me, I had a few of my friends, close friends, that were married prior to me, and they will give me tips. Yo, when this happens, don't do that, don't do that, do that. So I actually thought, I was like, yo, I'm gonna be the legit best husband. Like, there's no one gonna be better at this husband game than me. And
you told my parents that.
I did.
He said that to my parents.
I did say that.
He's
to your
gonna
parents.
get husband of the year every year.
Every year, and I haven't got it 1 year.
That's not true. Oh,
Since we
Pookie.
started.
That's not true. You definitely.
And I'm
get
trying.
husband of
Hopefully,
the year.
2020.
Stop. You definitely gets husband of the year. You've had that award many times.
Yeah.
Some years not so much, but you've come out on top a lot more than you haven't.
That's good. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. But yeah, so anyway, just getting those tips from friends before that been married and been through the situation. Then it got into our marriage, and I'm like, all right, I have all these tips, but then I was like, none of those things dealt with us. Like, it was like a whole new thing for us. So even when I have, the younger guys on my team, whatever, and they're about to venture off into these things, I kind of tell them, yeah, I'm giving you tips, but it may not work for you. And I advise them to get that I'm a good counselor to there's things that are hidden in a relationship that are not exposed, and that needs to come out. Mm-hmm. And I think that's very important in a relationship, so that when you get into it, you don't flee and run, because that's the easiest thing to do. And let me say this, being a father and a husband, I reach a point, the numbers, especially Black men, the numbers are high with, fathers leaving. I believe the numbers are getting better, but the numbers of fathers have left, single mothers that are there, divorces are high. I could see why. Mm-hmm. I am never saying that it's good. It's that, the way to go. I'm never gonna say that, but I have an understanding as to why people leave. People just like, I can't do this no more. And there's people that really cannot handle that kind of pressure, and that's why I say,
it may also be one side is willing to do the work and the other one is kind of like, no, I don't see the point in doing that.
That's true.
Like a lot of people, like I said, with the counseling, I think that's a big thing. Mm-hmm. Whether you're going to get married or not, sometimes even doing it before you even propose, like to see if this is, are we even compatible enough to actually be able to have a successful relationship? Mm-hmm. Because if you're completely opposites, and it's like, maybe it's just a physical thing, like you're just physically attracted to the person, or maybe you just got comfortable with the person, like that may not be enough to have an actual successful marriage for someone that it has to be someone that you're willing to actually do that work in. So if it's someone that you don't have that real connection with, you may not want to put in all that work. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I'm not doing this, like that's stupid. You're always gonna feel like, okay, there's no point in doing that. There's always gonna be an excuse because that person may not be who you really wanna work for. Mm-hmm. So I feel like counseling is like a big thing that can open up your eyes so you can really see what is in a marriage and what it takes to be in marriage. And I personally don't feel like you should just go with someone that is just like if you go to church, your pastor, just because he's your pastor, I'm gonna do counseling with them.
You really have to get someone that's qualified and trained. That's what they kind of
and
went
not
to school
stuck
for.
in their religion. That's like right. Someone that's not like, okay, this is how our religion does marriage, so this is how you should do it.
That's right.
I feel like you definitely shouldn't go with marriage counseling for someone like that. You would go with someone that's actually a marriage counselor.
That's the thing.
That has actual qualifications to help you without just looking at the religious part of it.
Exactly.
Because yes, we are religious people and we do believe in God, we believe in Jesus Christ, but you also
need some logistical tools to help you through marriage.
Yes.
Like,
it can't just be pray about it.
Pray about it.
But what am I praying about? Like, what if I don't know what words to use? Like, what if I don't even know what we're arguing about? Yeah. Because I just don't know.
Exactly.
And sometimes counseling can definitely open up your eyes and say, okay, this may be an issue. And then when it's actually, you might even forget about it. And then when it actually comes up, you're like, oh, snap. Like, this came up in counseling that this was going to happen. And then because that you have that in the back of your head, you're like, okay, so this is something we need to work on, rather than not even knowing. And then you're like, damn, like, what are we arguing about? Like, why is this happening?
Yeah, and it exposes the things early so that you're not thrown off, you know, that this being that aware that, you know, there's certain, you know, example, you know, say Dina doesn't like me wearing pink shirts and we just been dating, but she doesn't tell me that we don't like pink shirts because she likes me so much. And, you know, she doesn't want to, you don't want to mess it up. But, you know, this is my chance at love and things like that. But then when you were like in it, you know, year 2, year 3, you're just like, she's like,
still wearing these
why
pink
these
shirts?
pink shirts? And then, you know, and I'm just like, yo, you never talked about these pink shirts. Where's this coming from?
Right.
Why you having an attitude? Why you blowing up?
What's
on me
wrong
about
with my
pink
pink shirt?
Like, you know, and it's things like that. People, a lot of things people keep in a box. And after a while, you're just like, yo, why am I keeping this in a box? If I'm keeping this box and I already have you, that kind of mentality, that's what really affects elements in the
Or
marriage.
you feel ownership. So it's like, I don't like that pink shirt, and I'm your wife, so I'm telling you stop wearing that pink shirt.
Yeah.
And just like, whoa, like, you can't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
If you've never vocalized that you have this issue, and then all of a sudden, I don't want it.
Have these tough questions before you get married. Seek counseling. Find someone that's trained. Again, not
just your church pastor.
Not just your church pastor, unless he's trained and qualified to do these things.
Like and subscribe.
We'll see you guys next time.